Hey Warriors, welcome to another video. Thanks for tuning in. On this video, we're gonna talk about vacation. Yes, I was just on vacation in Florida at Disney with my family. And as you can see, I wish I was still there. I just shoveled about 5 inches off 2 separate driveways. But we're gonna talk about 3 things that worked with my ostomy, right? We all have obstacles we have to overcome. One of mine's an ostomy. And so 3 things on vacation that worked and 2 things that didn't. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining in. Let's get after it. All right, so this is a problem. I have to go to work like this today. Sometimes this happens because the belts I have, they break. They're expensive, so I don't have enough of them. And sometimes, just like today, they're all dirty and they're in the wash. So today I have to go to work like this, and I hate it because I feel anxious. I feel like people can see it. I'm more likely to have an accident, right? Like sometimes every once in a while this will happen and I have an accident. So I hate this. And that's why I'm creating this band business, is I want people to go live again. I want them to go feel secure and safe and not vulnerable. And I want them to feel confident in their bodies, right? Ostomy warriors have had a lot taken from them. I want them to feel that confidence again and to go live again. So there's a lot going on with the business that I'm building, right? I'm building a company called Armor Bands, and the idea is to build a band to help ostomy warriors go live again, to help keep things hidden and secure and help them feel confident, because I know a lot of ostomy warriors, they kind of live reserved lives, and I want them to go live again, go fight for a full life. So that's what I'm trying to do. And there's a lot of updates I could give you. I mean, we are in the middle of actually creating the product and going back and forth with the company and designing it. Man, we are building a website. We are trying to figure out marketing and logos and color schemes and digital media or social media and all the stuff. And we're also trying to figure out how are we going to fulfill and ship, and what's the packaging going to look like. I mean, there's so many things to go through. We feel quite overwhelmed, but actually it's making me feel alive. I go to bed every night exhausted because of all the things that I've got going on, but it's fun, and it's really making me grow. And I think it's an obvious, we all agree on it, but we need that reminder sometimes. We grow when we're outside of our comfort zone. And we usually don't choose to go there. We don't choose to get outside and get into our, outside of our comfort zone, but man, that's where the growth happens. Whether that's on your faith walk or, in your marriage or raising kids or working out, like you have to get off the couch and you have to go lift some weights. You have to go do something to improve your marriage, right? Like activity is involved. And so, man, I'm outside my comfort zone, but I'm learning and I'm thriving, and I can't wait to share more, especially if you're an ostomy warrior, man. I've got a product that I hope is gonna help you go live again.
It is Sunday and I like to meal prep. I heard somebody on Instagram call Sunday setup days, and that's so true. I think that you have to use Saturdays or Sundays to meal prep to set yourself up for success. I've done it during the week before. It's doable. It's just not ideal. Today I'm gonna go ahead and cook a bunch of beef for one of my daily meals. I'm gonna cook some chicken for my lunch. So it'll probably take me an hour or 2, but let's just get it done. All right, I've started using a new seasoning on a lot of my chicken, on my beef. I stumbled across a brand called Hardcore Carnivore. I really like their Tex-Mex. It's great on beef, it's great on chicken. I also like their red, which is kind of like their all-purpose seasoning, but it's supposed to be clean seasonings. They taste really good. A little goes a long way. So it's my new favorite. All right, update on the build. And I realize I look crazy sitting here with my hood on, but it's 28 degrees out this morning. It is frigid in the garage gym right now. But update on the build. The goal is to build up to a marathon and then one day an ultra marathon. And I'd say that still is the goal, but I can tell that my knee is starting to hurt. There's a feeling, there's a pain that comes before the really bad pain. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the wise thing and stop running for the moment and probably go see a surgeon or I'm going to go see a doctor to diagnose what's really going on. I've thought for years it was my IT band giving me issues, and I've tried all sorts of solutions to stretch it, build strength, all the things, and nothing seems to work. So I'm going to go see a doctor again about what's going on, and do I need surgery? Do I need whatever? So right now I'm going to stop running in full vulnerability, being as authentic as I can. That was really frustrating. I can't tell you how many times the past 2 years that I've started to build up to run, and then I've had to stop because of my knee. This is probably the 5th or the 6th time. Sometimes I've gotten up to running 18 to 20 miles for my long run, and sometimes I get up to 3 miles on my long run, right? Like at multiple stages in the training, it'll hurt and it gets really discouraging. Especially post-surgery, when I just want to exercise again. I want to do something I love. I want to prove to myself. I want to inspire you. But here we are. I've come to peace with it, that the question isn't why me? It's, God, what are you trying to teach me right now? What are you trying to do? And I really do believe that in His kindness and goodness, He knows that if I'm training for running, as well as working out, as well as building a business, doing my day job, leading a family, and building a ministry in a home church, that I'm going to get burnt out and that it's going to be too much. So it's a not yet, and there's a reason behind it. That's a hard conclusion for me to come to. You can go talk to my wife and ask her; she'll second that. But that's where we're at. So the goals are changing. I'm going to focus more on building muscle, leaning down. I want to get from about 20% body fat to 10 to 15. In the next couple videos, I'm going to come up with some more defined goals, but that's the update on the fitness build.
All right, so now let's talk about 3 things that worked on vacation with an ostomy and 2 that didn't. I would say the first thing, without a doubt, is being prepared worked. It gave me a lot of peace of mind knowing that if something happened, whether it was in the parks or on the drive down, that I was prepared, that I could take care of an accident or a ostomy supply kind of malfunction. So what I did to be prepared, and I'm not going to cover it in too much detail, is I had this in the car. This is not sponsored by Yeti. I like their products. They work. They get the job done. They're reliable. But in here, I just had some supplies that I thought I needed in the event that something happened. I had dude wipes. I had hand lotion. I had hand sanitizer, KT tape. I had extra ostomy bags and supplies and some scissors. And I also had an extra change of clothes. Right? Sometimes you need an extra change of clothes. So all of this just stayed in the car. It's airtight, it's protected. Nothing was gonna happen to it, and it took up not too much space. Also, I took this into the parks, right? Like I can't take that big thing into Disney World. I took this, which is just a little travel bag. You can get whatever brand you want, but this worked for me, where I also had an extra ostomy supplies, hand sanitizer, alcohol swabs. I had electrolytes and hand lotion and more dude wipes, right? Like, so if something happened in the parks, I could at least go and change my ostomy supplies. So I didn't have clothes, but this is low profile. I could throw it in my wife's purse or under the stroller. So I was always prepared, and that gave me a lot of peace of mind, knowing that if something happened, I was good. The second thing that I think definitely worked was the Imodium and what I would call the body prep leading up to the drive, right? So all week leading up to the drive, I was eating like I always do, which is consistent, whole foods, good quality, high proteins, and it was consistent. So I felt good. My body felt good. And I also started taking Imodium about 24 to 48 hours before the drive. And I was taking the heavier end of the dosage just to start to control things. And on the drive down, that definitely helped, and that definitely provided some relief so that we didn't have to stop as frequently for me to go to the bathroom. So I would say that definitely worked. Now, I continued to take Imodium throughout the trip, but I would usually just take 1 pill a day. And I stopped at some point, and I regret that. So I would continue to take it through the whole trip. The third thing that worked was just a mindset change and schedule tweaks, right? So the last vacation, I had the same mindset I would have had before I had an ostomy. We're gonna have minimal stops. Our stops are gonna be quick. And I think this time going into the trip, I just knew we're gonna have to make stops for me. It's going to be inconvenient at times. We're gonna have to stop our Disney, like we might be in the middle of Magic Kingdom and we might have to stop because of me. And that's just fine. So I think having that mindset change just relieves some of that stress. And that stress certainly doesn't come from my wife or kids or whoever's with me. It was just me putting it on myself. So those 3 things, without a shadow of a doubt, they worked. They made this vacation more enjoyable. Now, the 2 things that didn't work. The first thing is the Imodium taper. And I kind of hinted at this a minute ago. But about midway through the vacation, I stopped taking the Imodium. And I paid for it on the drive home. Now, the drive home wasn't miserable, but it certainly wasn't as smooth as the drive down. So I think that 2 things attribute to that. One is I should have kept the Imodium going, and I should have increased it again towards the tail end of the vacation. Also, I wish I would have, ordered some food delivered to the hotel, right? I would have Instacarted some food to the hotel rather than relying on constantly eating out. Because the garbage food that I ate all week definitely had an effect, at least on the way home. So had I maintained my diet to some degree, I wouldn't have expected to keep it completely, but if I would have kept a little bit more of it, I think that, the drive home would have been a little bit better. The last thing that I think that did not work is how we broke up the drive on the way home. Now, going to vacation, we drove 10 hours the first day and about 3 hours the second day, which was great. We did the bulk of the work the first day, so that second day was very short and brief. On the drive home, we did like 6 hours day 1, 6 hours day 2, and after a long vacation, and with an ostomy, it's a mental drain. It's a daily battle, right? And so by the end of this long vacation, I just wanted to be home. My body was ready to be home. So I wish we would have done a longer drive on day 1 and then finished it up with a short stint on day 2. So I regret that, and I learned from that. And so that was my vacation. That was I think my second vacation with an ostomy now. I've learned a lot from each trip, and I hope that you can take away from the 3 things that worked and the 2 things that didn't.